According to the Brazilian Penal Code, the crime of quackery occurs when someone, in bad faith or without scientific basis, discloses a supposed cure for a disease using secret or infallible methods. This crime is provided for in Article 283 of the Penal Code, which establishes a prison sentence of 3 months to 1 year, in addition to a fine. Follow the story. In a small town called Areia, there was an ancient legend about a mysterious healer who cured all illnesses with a secret elixir. It was said that the woman had a rare and innate gift, capable of restoring health to even the most desperate. But no one knew for sure who she was, and many considered her to be just a tale invented by the elders. Mario, a curious and skeptical young journalist, was sent to the town to investigate the story. He had heard rumors that the so-called miracle cure was gaining traction in the region and could be deceiving many people. The story seemed simple, but Mario believed that there was something more behind it. Something hidden. Upon arriving in the town, he met Sophia, a middle-aged woman, highly respected by everyone. She was known as the Keeper of Secrets. Sophia spoke little about the legend of the healer, but her wisdom seemed ancient, and everyone sought her out in times of need. Mario, you shouldn't mess with this. The Areia cure has more mystery than you imagine, she told him when she learned of his interest. Determined to discover the truth, Mario followed his intuition and went to the most isolated house in the city, where the residents swore that the cure took place. There he met a young woman named Lucia, who was desperate to find the famous cure. Her brother, Tomas, had been diagnosed with a rare disease, and as a last resort, she believed that Areia's cure could be her only salvation. You don't understand, Mario. They say it works. My brother is dying. And the only hope is this cure, Lucia explained, her eyes filling with tears. But something didn't seem right. Mario, now doubtful, began to observe more carefully. He discovered that the so-called cure was nothing more than a compound of natural substances mixed together, but with no proven power. The greatest secret behind the mystery of the cure was that the true source of the miracle was something much simpler: faith. People believed so much in the promise of a cure that the psychological effect made them feel better. Meanwhile, the entire town was preparing for a grand ceremony where the cure would be revealed once again. Mario, now determined to expose the truth, tried to alert the authorities about the charlatanism that was being practiced. But Sophia, who had great power in the community, used her influence to silence the skeptics. On the night of the ceremony, Mario had a confrontation with Sophia. He confronted her about what was happening and tried to convince Lucia to give up her search for the false cure. You're fooling everyone, Sophia. People are believing in something that doesn't exist, Mario shouted. Sophia looked at him calmly. Mario, you don't understand. The cure isn't in the medicine, but in the hope it brings. People need to believe they can be saved. And sometimes, that's enough. But for Mario, Sophia's words didn't make sense. He felt he was facing something very dangerous. However, when he looked at Lucia, who was holding the hand of Tomas, who was already in critical condition, he saw a spark of hope in her eyes. Even though he knew that the cure was false, he understood that the true cure was the comfort that faith could provide. Mario made a difficult decision. He did not reveal the truth right away. Instead, he stayed with Lucia and the other inhabitants during the ceremony. The people, with their hopeful faces, began to drink the elixir and felt immediate relief, as always happened. But when the ceremony was over, Mario asked Sophia one last question. Do you really believe that you are doing good, even though you know that you are deceiving these people? Sophia smiled sadly. I believe that Areia's cure, despite being a lie, is the only thing that keeps this town alive. The story ends with Mario, now more skeptical than ever, deciding to write an article about the experience. He knew that the truth about Areia's cure would never be fully accepted. People sometimes prefer to live with their illusions, and perhaps that was what kept them alive in a world full of suffering and uncertainty. This story seeks to explore the moral dilemma of those who practice charlatanism, questioning to what extent the intention of providing relief can justify deception. And at the same time, it questions the power of faith and hope in times of despair.